It's useful for remembering things. It's useful for getting information out if you have a huge volume of information. Say property listings. We have 20,000 property listings for Visit Florida. I don't think we have that many, but say we do. Do we want to create 20,000 HTML pages on the server for each of those hotels? No, we want to store them all in a database like this, write one script that goes and gets them out and then says, echo the name of the hotel to the line formatted like this, echo the address like this, and so on. And so that's where the power of the database for storing that is. The other power of the database is it can remember information that is passed into it. So if you have a user type in a form, I've searched for beaches in Sarasota on Visit Florida site. We want to remember that search because we want to know if that's popular. So we actually will write that to a table saying popular searches. We'll save that term. We'll increment the number in there by 1, so we'll know after a while the number's getting pretty high, and so on. It's useful for remembering that information. Somebody creates an account on your website. That's how it remembers that. You write to a field called users. You store that information. You store a password. You create a cookie with set cookie function in PHP. You can actually save a cookie on the user's computer with the password in it. If it matches, they come back. You look at what's in the cookie. If that matches something in the database, you've got yourself a logged in user. You say hello user, and then you can manipulate the page accordingly. That's how all these pieces fit together. Glazing over this stuff as quickly as I can because there's a lot to it, but you get the idea, and you can look up any of the functions that you need to know how to do that. And as always, you can approach me if you want to know specific functions, or specifically how do I do this. So this is how the blog table looks in the database. This is the raw data. If we go and we just say give me everything from blog, then you're going to get this. You're going to get a chart that matches the database. It's pulling the information out. It's putting it into an array. Like I said earlier last week, if you don't define the key within the array, like up here we've got an array of just first names with no keys defined. The first key is going to be 0, the second key is going to be 1, the next one is going to be 2, and so on. So it's giving you a set of records that looks like this. The first record is 0, from here to here.
I see.
Within that 0 itself is an array that contains each of those fields. So you have a two-dimensional array at this point. The second element in that array is number 1, which has its own set of fields right out of the database and so on. If something is blank, you still get returned a blank field so that you know that it's there.
So you could just say, give me all the contact names for all the entries, and then it would just give you that one for each.
Right, so yeah, so select, instead of selecting star, you can say select contact name. Oops. I missed it.
Contact last name? Contact first name?
I have an extra. Because I edited the line, I took an extra. This helpful errors, it gets you the exact syntax error on the exact line of the script. It's pretty easy to fix PHP when it breaks. So now instead of selecting everything, I'm just getting the contact name. Instead of that,
Is that a standard convention contact name? Does it have to match the database exactly?
Yeah.
it has to match exactly or you're going to get an error.
Right.
There's no real standard field naming conventions other than ID for the numerical index of the table. That's pretty common. Just name an email, and really it's a matter of what you want to call it, what makes sense to you. Personally, at home, I like to put everything in uppercase. Here at Mel's Media, we tend to put everything in lowercase. It doesn't really matter. It's pretty standard to put everything as one single word, so we use underscores instead of spaces. It's easier to keep track of.
So it'll error if you're not using the matching upper or lowercase in the database?
But you'll get the error, and it'll be very clear of you're getting this error, this couldn't run. You put it in PHP Med, and then it'll tell you right there, field name not found. Oh, it's because I misspelled it. It's very easy to debug this stuff. 99% of the time. The problems are the ones where it tells you everything's fine, but it's not working. Those are the hard ones.
Nice.
Oh.
I want to see those. I want to kind of break cracks in there. It's like, oh.
So select star from the field, or from the database table that you're querying from if you want to get specific records. Let's say where contact name equals Rick.
And when you put it from and where instead of in caps, it has to be within caps?
Nope, that's something that we do here. It's
Okay, so
easier to read.
It's easy to read too. Okay.
Right, but you don't have to do that. So in this case, I've selected only the record where contact name is equal to Rick.
So
If
that would
I-
be useful if you wanted to do demographic, like where city equals Chicago.
Mhm. And if you have multiple records that match that, it's going to give you all of those, but none of the ones that don't. And like in PHP, you can use $sign for not equals. So where contact name does not equal Rick, use a exclamation point equal sign. Same thing if you want to say where it's not blank, where we definitely have a contact name does not equal quote quote. You can also use order by.
By alpha.
So we want to sort these by contact name.
So the empty records go to the front of the list or to the end?
Front. So here we have contact name blank, contact name Rick, contact name Steven, and contact name Sue in order.
How many numbers can go underneath? As many as if you have 200.
Oh, you'll have
Okay, fine.
thousands. It depends on how big your database is.
Diet
You
7
can
up.
have-
Hold on, I want to see that. The password is Diet 7 up.
Well, this is a development server, so they often type in silly things into there. You'll see all kinds of.
I'll just have a bank password.
That's our
Too.
home
That's all
banking
right.
password, yeah.
What?
So you might want to change your bank password too.
Fluffy kitties.
That one's foolproof.
If you want
I
to
know
do,
it is.
if you want to do a reverse sort, you do it descending. So order by contact name
Kids and
descending, DESC after the field name, and you can do multiple fields. So if you want to do sort by contact name descending, comma, what's it, blog ID. If you want to sort by multiple fields, just a comma separated list.
An alpha? You will do the same. You put alpha.
But how would
comma,
that sort that
alpha.
by multiple?
If you have
sending
two,
in
if you have
blog
two people named Steven in the
Oh, okay.
system, then whichever one it'll go with a lower blog ID and then the higher blog ID. in this
So you could
case.
do that if you're doing like sort by last name, and you could say first name if it's the same last name.
Mhm. And you can combine all these together. So if you want to do select star from blog, where ID is, blog ID, that's the name of the field. Blog ID is greater than 0 or something like that, greater than 1. You can, and then order by. You can do that. If you want to limit how many results you get, like give me only one result, limit 1. Limit 10 or however many. If you know your script is going to break after a certain number, or if you only want, give me the first 100 results. I just want to stop there. Ultimately, that's
I
what.
think David's coming in here.
Andrew.
He was like,
Creeping over here.
I know. He was like that
Well, so
lion trying to
we're in-
sun something.
So that blog that one where you said start a certain number, that would be good if you wanted to do like the last 50 that were created or something, right? Like if you're
Mhm.
looking for like recent additions or something.
Mhm. By default, PHPMyAdmin will give you the first 30 rows. So let's see if we can find a table here that has a lot of records in it. Here, the first one here is states. 51 records, probably 50 states plus DC. It'll give you, when you browse, by default, it'll just give you the first 30 records. And all it's doing up here is running a statement itself. Select star from states, limit, starting from 0, limit 30 records. And you can manipulate the SQL to get what you want out of there. Come on. You can